Welcome to the Gathering webinar on registration. We're going to wait just a few minutes as people are entering the room, but my name is Molly. I serve as Director of the Gathering, and it's an exciting week here in the Gathering office as registration opens tomorrow. We have our fabulous Donna Weigel with us tonight, who serves as Registrar Guru, and so she's going to be here to walk through some information with you. And of course, we would love to take your questions. Once you log into the Zoom platform, there's a Q&A button there, and so you just click that. And if you enter your questions, we'll be kind of moderating that, and then we'll do all the questions at the end. So as more people come in, we will kick off in just a few minutes, but maybe some other fun gathering information for you, non-registration related, as you wait. Tomorrow, applications also open up for youth and young adult MCs. So lots of you have been asking when MC applications are going to open up, and that date is tomorrow. The information is already on our website. If you go to details and then the mass gathering page, all the information is there that the kids are going to need to submit their application. So that is ready to go. We hope that lots of your youth and young adults will apply to be MCs. Financial assistance is still open, so if you have young people who need financial assistance, feel free to go ahead and apply for that. We are working to get all that information uploaded into our database. Most of it will be there by the time registration goes live tomorrow, but if you don't see it in there and you've gotten an email saying that you have been awarded financial assistance, don't panic. We just haven't gotten to you yet. There are lots of people to enter, so don't forget about that too. We also want to do a plug for something later in the year, and that is the ELCA Youth Ministry Network's Extravaganza, which is a continuing education event for volunteer and professional youth ministry folks in the ELCA, and that is taking place in January in Houston. So not only is it always a great event, but this year it's especially great because you can get to Houston ahead of the gathering and scope out your hotel property and local restaurants. You can sign up for the bus tour that we're doing. So we just want to give a shout out to the Youth Ministry Network and the Extravaganza and really encourage you to do that as well. All right, it's a few minutes after 7, and I think we're going to just pause for a moment, and then we'll be back. So hang tight.
Okay, thank you, Molly. Yay, we're all excited. I'm Donna. I've been working with registration for several cycles, and I probably know a great majority of you folks. And I always get excited when this time runs around because one of the things I love the most about the work that I do here with the gathering is connecting with everybody in the congregations, everybody who's doing the work of youth ministry. We could not do this without the work that you do, so I hope you know that and you realize how appreciated that you are. So what we're going to do, we've got a little PowerPoint. We're just going to kind of walk through it, and then we will walk through the actual registration process. We've worked really hard over the years to kind of streamline this and make it, I always used to say, not like a tax form, you know, not a lot of extra boxes to check. And so I think what we have this time is working pretty well. We'll work pretty well for what we're doing this year in Houston. So welcome everybody. And again, as Molly said, don't forget to send us your questions. We will address that as soon as we kind of do a walkthrough with the webinar. Next page. Okay, new this time, we've got 3 separate registration times and registration fees. We would love everybody to register in the early bird time from September 15th to November 15th. Why? Because that gives us a good idea of how we're trending. We will be meeting with hotels, and we need to know if we've got to scurry around and get a whole lot more rooms. It's better to know that earlier than later. It gives you a break in the registration fee. And as you'll find out later, we have some other perks along the way. We've got some fun incentives that you will see and learn about on our webpage. Regular registration is $390, so you see these steps and how the price increases as we get closer to the gathering. So we encourage everybody to get their registration done early. Okay, we have 2 pre-events before the gathering happens, and we love these pre-events. MILE is the Multicultural Youth Leadership event, and the table is formerly known as DALE, Definitely Abled Youth Leadership event. The people planning at this time, with much discernment, changed the name and worked it into the programming, and it's just going to be a wonderful event. One body, one mission, one household in Christ is the MILE logo, and You Belong is the table logo. So we encourage you to, if you have youth who would benefit from attending these pre-events, please register. They're just wonderful events, $190 per person, but you get your housing and you get some meals and you get some amazing transformational programming. Okay, your registration is not confirmed until we actually receive payment from you. We need the $150 per person deposit mailed after you've done your registration. Do a little calculating and send us the deposit, and everything else can wait until we have to have it by May 15th, and that really is a strong deadline because we do need time to clean up the database, make sure we have all the payments in, and you know, so nobody is left, you know, oh, where did, you know, we sent that check. Well, so this gives us a little time to take care of those issues. Okay, registration will open tomorrow at noon, and there will be links on the Gathering website homepage and under the registration tab at the top. And at this point, we're going to just open up the front side of the database and walk through what you'll see when you go in tomorrow at noon to add your young people. Okay, welcome to online registration. Now, as primary leader, you put in your congregational ID number. Every church has a different number. We have a lot of Trinity Lutherans, but we only have one of you. So know your congregational ID. Many of you who have done this process before know what it is and can recall it from memory right away. So right now, we're just using, sadly, it's one of our congregations in the Virgin Islands, and we have not heard how they're doing, but we pray for them every day. So we're going to use this 00005, and we're going to agree to all of the verbiage there at the bottom of the page, and we're going to hit enter. Okay, and then you need to enter the email address of whoever is serving as the primary leader of your congregation. If you're just doing the data entry, you would have had already somebody designated to serve as primary leader. And the primary leader just kind of, you know, takes charge of the whole group and makes sure everything is ready and works with the housing and gets those payments in. And so that is the address that would go into this field. And right now I put me. And so it takes me to this page. If Kings Hill Lutheran Church of the Virgin Islands is not my congregation, whoops, I better double check my ID number and do it again. I have already populated this with just some information. I have myself listed as the primary leader, and I've got my granddaughter and one of her good friends as the kids I'm taking to the gathering. If I want to make any edits or changes to my information, I would hit that edit button. And here's where you will put all of your personal information. You see I'm 00 years old. That's well and good. The gender, we have added a gender nonconforming response this time, your race, ethnicity. I don't really have any special needs. T-shirts. Now this is for your service learning work day. Everybody will get a T-shirt, and everybody has to wear the T-shirt on their service learning day. I am just a volunteer leader for my church. I don't have a paid position at my congregation. I'm just coming as a volunteer leader. I have not been to a gathering before. My emergency contact, my daughter. I'm checking the Mile button because we do intend to go to Mile, which will be held at the University of Houston. So I'm going to save that. Okay, now I want to just double check on my young people to make sure I have everything I need in there. The youth, if you've seen the worksheets, we ask for basically the same information. How old are you? What's your race and ethnicity? What's your T-shirt size? Emergency contact. And yes, they're going to go to the Mile event with me. So I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to go back into my congregation details. And this automatically calculates the number of people that I have registered. There are 2 youth, there's 1 adult, and all 3 of us are going to Mile. Boy, I just heard about the mass cast too. Thank you, Molly. That sounds great. And it sounds like it might be something fun to do, to be up there with the MCs maybe. And then, boy, on Sunday, I think it would be great to be a communion assistant. I heard that they could do communion for 30,000 people in 20 minutes. So that's pretty amazing too. We're going to give that a go. And my T-shirts I want sent to me. I know I'll be here 7 days a week for the rest of the year, and so sure, send them to me here. For the purpose of service learning, this is on your day out. We really need to know if there are any issues that we should be aware of, allergies, handling food products, latex, whatever. There's a place to give additional information. Now, transportation. Everybody stays in their hotels, comes together at NRG Park in the evening for the mass gathering. During the day, you're either at NRG Park in engaging in interactive learning, or you're out in the city on your service day, or you're in hotel ballrooms with your synod and with your bishop. So pay attention to this, and we really would like complete information. We're going to come, because we're going to go to Mile, we need to be there on Sunday, June 24th. So that's when we're going to go. I think we're going to fly, and we're going to stay to the end, especially if we get to be communion assistants. So we're not leaving until Sunday, and we're going to fly home. We don't have any other nearby congregations coming with us. We're a small church in the city of Chicago. We've got a congregation that's not too far away. Maybe we can put the kids together and have them come, or maybe they're just going to be on their own. So right now, we don't have any other members of other congregations traveling with us, so we're going to leave that blank. We are not traveling on a bus, so we're going to select that bus. But if you are traveling on a coach bus or an air-conditioned school bus or something that we might be able to repurpose and sublet for service day or for help with shuttling around the city, we're we're going to check that box. We want you to subcontract our bus. So if you select that we can subcontract your bus, this box will pop up. We want the information, a person there that we can talk to about subletting the bus, and their phone number. We've got folks on the transportation team that are going to be busy working at this, so we'll have enough shuttle buses for everybody by the time they get to Houston. And then, most importantly, we want to use the gathering provided transportation every day. Since we're flying, we're not going to rent a car when we get there. We're going to count on the gathering transportation, so we're going to check this box. Want to check it? Yay. Now, housing. All synods will be housed together in either the same hotel property or properties that are close by. So that's reassuring. If I know I'm going to be with others from my my synod, you know, I feel pretty good about that, and I'm not worried at all about where I'm going to be. And because we're a small group, I'm only going to get 2 rooms, 2 king rooms, one for me and one for the girls. And I think that's going to take care of us. Now, fees and payments, this calculates what your total fee will be. For the 3 of us coming, it's $10.50. Adding 3 registrations per mile brings the total up to $16.20. Now, here's where you'll have to do the math. 3 of us, I need to send in deposits of $150 per person. So that is $450. So I know, you know, that's an easy number. You know, unfortunately, it doesn't calculate it here, but that's easy enough for me to figure out in my head. So I'm going to get that check ready because I know I need to send it in. And so I hit the done button. And here gives me a couple options. I either get to go back if I forgot to add somebody. I can print the summary registration form. That just itemizes, you know, what I've signed up for, the young people who are coming, just kind of a double checking. Yeah, this is our list. I didn't leave anybody out. But so I'm ready to send that check in. So I come back here and I print the payment letter. And this is the payment letter. It's got the amount that I owe, the total amount. I'm going to send $450. So I'm going to make my check out to the ELCA Youth Gathering, $450. I'm going to put my ID number in the memo line of the check, and I'm going to send it to that address, ELCA Youth Gathering, P.O. Box, in Hagerstown, Maryland. Those of you who have done this before know that we always send it to St. Louis. We're using a different service, so they're going to Hagerstown, Maryland. So if you have that old address saved, get rid of it. Print this letter and mail it to Maryland. We are not printing this address anywhere else. We want all of the money to go into the lockbox with this invoice, with this payment letter, and it just helps keep things clean for us, you know, so we can make sure that all of the congregations are properly credited with the amount of money that they have sent in. Okay. Next slide is, yes, 1 check per congregation. We have 3 people coming, but I'm not sending 3 checks for $150 each. I'm sending 1 check for $450. I'm going to put my congregational ID 00005 on the memo line of the check. And I'm going to print out that payment letter so I can send it all to the address that's listed in the on the payment page. This is our promise to you. Congregations that registered during the early bird period will receive their housing assignments in January before the extravaganza. So when you come down to Houston for the extravaganza, You already know where you're staying, and you can take your friends, the other leaders from your congregation. You can go look at the property and see where you'll be living for those days while you're in Houston. And when we've had groups that already meet the folks behind the front desk and, you know, make arrangements to have a suite while they're there and have ice cream socials, and the sky's the limit. Okay, questions. You can either post in the...
We got a whole bunch.
Oh, we got a whole bunch, okay. And very important, ask your gathering Senate coordinators. They are specially trained to be out there in the field and work with congregations and be there as a resource. So you can ask them, you can contact them, you can say, this is my first gathering, I don't know what to do. We can plug our gathering handbook, a wonderful resource that's available either online, or if you want to buy a printed copy, you can still do that through Old Lutheran, I believe. You can always email thegathering@elca.org. We will attend to it, and if we see a lot of questions that are coming in of the same topic, we'll post it on the FAQs, on our FAQ page, and address it there on our website. Okay. Questions. This is your time, folks.
All right, first question. Will adult leaders with children who are attending be able to stay in the same hotel room with them?
Adult leaders with
their own personal children.
Oh, we don't want adult leaders to bring their children. This is not a family gathering, and we know that it's a wonderful, transformative event, and it's wonderful to share it with your family, but this is for young adults, this is for youth and their caring adult leaders.
What if their child is a registered participant of the gathering? Can they share a room?
Oh, can they share a room?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to micromanage that. If your group includes your children, yeah, well, if they want to be with you.
If I have to stop in the middle of registering, will it be saved?
As long as you hit that save button that's at the bottom of the page, when you go back, and you go back in the same way you got in the first time, with your ID number and your primary leader email address, you can pick up where you left off.
We have youth who have received financial assistance. So for those youth, we don't need to send in the 150 each, right?
Well, remember that anything you send in gets credited towards your balance due. It goes to satisfy your balance due. Depending on the amount of the award, yes, if they receive 300, you would be responsible for sending in $50 for that person. We will know when we upload your information to your financial account. But basically, deposit first, and if you add people, that will also get added to your total balance due. So every time you add a person, you don't need to send in a separate $150 check. That will just get added to the balance due.
I'm the leader for my church, but I will not be attending the gathering. How can I indicate this on the form?
You really can. If your name is in there, if you're registering as an adult leader or a leader, you will be included in the registration fee. You would need to pay attention to housing. If you are just going to enter information, just don't put yourself in there. But whoever registers needs to come.
Can mile registration be added at a later date?
Yes, it can. We encourage folks to try to answer this as soon as possible. We're always limited in when we use campuses. Sometimes their biggest space may only hold 700 or 800, and I know it happened to us in Detroit. We don't want it to happen again, that people were turned away.
I serve a 3-point parish. Should I put all of my kids under one church?
Yes, That is such a good question. Yes.
To register, do we have to know whether we are traveling by bus or air? Can this be changed later?
You can change it later. If you remember, or as you go back through this, you can see that as of March 1st, that is the only time that, after March 1st, 2018, you can't change it.
Do king rooms cost more than double rooms?
King rooms do not cost more than double rooms, but let me tell you, as hotels renovate and are built, they're including more king rooms than doubles. They like to cater to the business traveler, the transient population, and we have more king rooms than we do have doubles, quite frankly, and expect to have some king rooms in your room block. Everybody wants a hotel with all doubles. It's right across the street from the venue, and that hotel has not yet been built. So we take the rooms we have in our inventory and we spread them out as equitably and fairly as we can.
My congregation would like all double rooms. How do I indicate that on the form?
Well, you can indicate it on the form for sure, and everybody does. So you're no different from all the other congregations out there. But budget for 2 to a room, 3 to a room, as well as 4 to a room. Budget for a mix of those options.
If any congregation information changes at a later date, until what date do we have to make changes except for gathering transportation?
Okay, I'm not quite sure what other changing information that's referencing. If the pastor takes a new call and there's a new primary leader coming in, those changes can be made up until May 15th. You can add people up until May 15th, but of course that would trigger a higher registration fee.
We are concerned about asking kids to share beds. The instructions say 4 to a room, and in the past we've been asked to fill rooms. This seems to be in opposition of our safe church practices. How have you addressed this?
Well, the gathering, we want to respect all of the safe church practices that congregations have worked out and are out there in synods. However, the gathering only says that one adult cannot stay in a room with one young person. There has to be at least 2 adults, 2 young people. Some congregations want adults in the room, others don't. So, we try not to micromanage, but if we see something come in with 1 adult and 1 child in a room, we would probably, that would probably trigger a phone call.
Can we use a credit card for the deposit?
Not for the gathering deposit. For the hotel, you certainly can. We are just not equipped yet in our office of the treasurer for group credit cards, and so this is strictly still just a check sent to the block box.
Can we send the entire $350 per person right away?
Absolutely, you can send whatever you want. Whatever you send will go towards your balance due.
What time does registration open?
At noon tomorrow, Central Time.
If we have a youth who decides to attend in the late or regular registration times, can you add them even if you've sent your deposit?
Yes, of course you can add them. That will trigger the regular or late registration fee, but that's added to your balance due that we need by May 15th.
Is there a way to get tax-exempt status in Texas?
There is a way. You would have to go to texas.gov and look it up for your own congregation. There's an application process. We're not tax lawyers, but we are tax exempt in the state of Texas. But I can't really tell you how to do that, but the state of Texas can.
I have a youth who needs medications refrigerated at the hotel. Is there a place to indicate that need for our accommodations?
Once you send your housing information to the hotel, and they put you into their system. Generally, an email is generated that says, thank you for your, we received your money, here's your confirmation number. That's the point where you're in the system, and you can call the hotel directly and work out those arrangements.
What if our arrival or departure date changes because of flight pricing?
Make sure that you let your hotel know if your flight is delayed or canceled. A quick call to the hotel would be prudent.
If your youth receives scholarships, how do you do the registration? Do you multiply the amount X each person and then put it in the credit line? Please explain how that will show up.
It will show up. We have a separate field for financial assistance, and that's where we've been putting it. It's a kind of a lengthy, not a lengthy process, but because there's so many of you, that it will just show up as whatever you owe minus whatever the amount it costs for you to come to the gathering. So you'll see it deducted from your total due.
If we are registering tomorrow, when does our registration deposit check need to be received at the P.O. box?
We don't have those dates. The only date we have set is May 15th for all balances due. We appreciate the checks coming in fairly soon, because if we don't have that, we may think that you're going to not continue with your registration. So in order to be considered confirmed, we do need to have that, and you will see posted in your congregational account what you have sent, what you have paid, probably within a week to 10 days.
And their cost is whatever day we get there.
Your registration fee cost depends on when you registered.
Your check.
And when we get your check. So you can't, if you roll it over until registration has increased, that will increase your registration fee.
Will the regular registration folks still be housed with their synods if they register during regular or late?
Yes, that is our goal. We should have enough rooms. I've already talked to the hotels to tell them that we may need to bump up the rooms we have already booked. And yeah, so unless they're very, very late and we can't fit them in anywhere, we know we're going to have a hotel that's filled with the not the misfits, but the late registration folks. And we'll have to just figure that out when we.
I'm bringing my intern and don't know the name until May. Can I register a name and change it when I know?
Absolutely, that is the best way to do it. You want to get that person registered. If you don't know the name, just intern, first and last, and then you can always go back in and clicking the edit button, you can make that change once you have the name.
If we enter the first 10 participants, but then have several add-ons, can we edit our registration after we've already paid?
Absolutely, you can continue to add or substitute up until May 15th. Again, depending on the time that you're doing this, which registration fee you pay would depend on when you're doing the addition.
Will this presentation be available later?
We absolutely hope so.
If we are registering youth over several days, am I not to hit the finished button until we're totally done?
No. Hit the done button. Yeah, you enter people, save them, and you can just continue entering them. We had that a couple cycles ago when we had the soft opening where you put everything in, and then when registration opens, you went back in and hit the submit button. But this is, come as you are, register, hit the done button, come back in, add somebody else. There's that edit button. So you can just keep doing that.
What are the pros and cons of registering with another congregation?
The pros and cons. We once had a congregation who sent us a very distressing email after the gathering, and that, just everywhere I went, there were lines, we had a hard time getting food, we waited in a line for this and for that. And so I looked him up in the database. Well, he brought 75 kids. And so that was his line. He took that line with him everywhere he went. That's definitely a disadvantage of congregations that, have a mass. You're more flexible when you're a smaller congregation. It's easier to get around. Lines aren't so long. So I'd say that's probably the biggest one. You don't have to worry this time about making sure you're in the same hotel, because you will be, especially if you register, during the opening, the early registration period.
How much should we budget for a room per night approximately? We have the highest rates that we have in the city of Houston. Sadly, is $189, but that is at a property where you can put 5 people in a room and have a breakfast. So expect most properties to be in the range of $150. Who does the hotel payment go to?
The hotel payment goes to the hotel. You will send that directly with your rooming list. You will have a special report that you can print out from your congregational account with the name of the hotel you're assigned to, the number of rooms you're assigned to, and a place for you to write your rooming list. And you send that directly to the hotel, and that information will be on that form.
At what point will we know how much our hotel costs?
When they're assigned. The general range is $150. Downtown properties, they've all been really good to work with.
As the contact person for my gathering, can I use my email even though I'm not attending, but give info for the adults who are attending?
We would discourage that, only because we want to make sure that the primary leader gets the information. And then when we're on site, if there was an emergency or something happened, how do we reach that primary leader if it goes to your email?
Will kings and double doubles be on the same floor for a church group?
We have asked our hotels to pre-block rooms once they get the information from the congregation. All they can say is that we try to do that. They're in the business. They've done church groups. They've done camp groups. They've done Girl Scouts. So this isn't a strange request. But expect to wait a little bit if you want everybody on the same floor, because all the rooms may not be ready to be occupied on that one floor.
Should we put 2 people in a king room?
Absolutely put 2 people in a king room.
Can a youth attend the table without attending the gathering?
That would depend on the nature of the ability. And if that is a question, the folks who are planning the table would love to, work with you one-on-one to figure that out.
We have parents needing to stay with a handicapped registered youth. How do we ensure they will receive a room together?
That would not be, that's not an issue. Yeah, that wouldn't be an issue. We'd work with you one-on-one. Pardon me.
When do we register for the airport shuttle that the ELCA is contracting?
By the middle of October.
The link will be up there.
The link will be up there.
If we want to share hotel rooms with 2 small congregations, what's the best way to register?
The best way to register is as individual congregations, and then when it comes time to send your housing list, as long as you're in the same synod, when the time comes to send your housing list, get together with those other congregations and make one master rooming list.
What if, after the deposit is made, someone gets financial aid and we overpay? Will a credit be sent?
Should that happen, all of our refunds are done after the gathering in August. because we need some time with the, because we're working with different units of the church to, get money in, make sure it's properly allocated. And so it takes us a while then at the end. If there are any overpayments, you would get that back, but it wouldn't be until after the gathering.
When is the last day we'll be notified for financial aid?
That's a moving target because it depends on when our funds are used up.
So can we come a day early and the only cost will be an extra expense in the hotel stay?
Absolutely, that and your food.
If I can't register right when it opens tomorrow, can I jump on later tomorrow afternoon?
Of course.
Can you repeat the information about the airport shuttle? How do we book that?
That will come later. There will be a link on our website when that's ready to go.
We're shooting to have that link up by October 15th, Deborah. Are all congregations in a synod on the same rotation day for the 3 days?
Yes.
Are scholarships still available?
There is still some funds, but I don't know what's come in while we've been in this room. So it's just, if you've got somebody out there who really needs the funding, I wouldn't wait to apply. I would do it right away.
Do we need background checks for anyone over the age of 18 years old?
We hope that in your individual context, your churches, that you do that you screen the people who work with the youth. We don't require it for the gathering.
When will the adult leader registration be on the opening day of the gathering? Trying to plan our Tuesday, Wednesday.
What was the question again?
Adult leader orientation on site.
We are planning different ways to do that via video and other online training things. We want to make it easy and available for everyone.
Is the number of people in a room strictly between us and the hotel? I'm thinking a king room sometimes has a sofa bed or rollaways may be available.
Yes, and I've got those in the inventory. If they have a king and a pullout, it's listed as a king and a pullout, and I would assign probably 3 people to that room.
Will we be staying in Houston on Sunday, July 1st?
Well, we end at noon on Sunday, July 1st. So you have the option if you want to go back to your hotel, and that's one of the transportation questions, and spend another day in the city and get to know it. We do have the rates either 3 days before or 3 days after, depending on availability, depending on how busy the hotel is. I would put that, if you're staying a day later, make sure you put that in your housing letter, your check-in day and your checkout day.
If we have a student with a medical condition that may affect housing requirements, how do we request that?
Again, with special needs, when we go through them, we will address those with the individual and accommodate what we can. Most of our hotels are ADA compliant, but we have other properties, for the table will be, for instance, that are more so. And so if that means that congregation will stay there, apart from their synod, then that's what we'll do.
Can we cancel a room once it's reserved? If we register for 6 rooms and only end up needing 5, can we go back and change it?
You would do that directly with the hotel. The hotels will let you know what your cancellation policy is when you get the confirmation. Most congregations are very good about doing, most of the hotels are very good about doing that for congregations. I would say more often the reverse is true. You need to go back to the well and get more rooms.
In New Orleans, we checked in, registered at the convention center. In Detroit, we checked in right at the hotel. How will it happen in Houston?
You will check in with the hotel. We've got your hotel, your community life staff will be ready to meet you on Tuesday afternoon and all day Wednesday to get you checked in with your gathering materials and get you on your way down to the NRG Park.
How long does it take to be notified of financial aid after applied?
That's an almost 10 days, 10 business days.
If families applied for financial aid and it was awarded, but then the family decided they couldn't go, what happens to the money? Is it transferable to another youth in the congregation?
No, we have done that in the past. We are not doing that this time. It's specifically for the person who applied.
Are there any scholarships available to attend Mile or the Table?
Unfortunately, no, because that's already heavily subsidized by the gathering. That the money spent for the registration for Mile and the Table already get you way more than what you're paying.
So I have this correct. It's a $150 deposit, and then depending on when we register, an additional $350, for example, as the balance due per person.
The $350 balance due per person would be the $150 would be deducted from that, and then whatever is left over is your balance due.
Donna, you're awesome.
Oh.
Okay, do I have this correct? I register starting tomorrow. We're assigned a hotel in January or later. Once we know the hotel, we contact them ourselves and ask for the number of rooms we need.
No.
It will be a mixing of 2, 3, or 4 person rooms. We don't know our lodging costs till we find out the mix of rooms. And how much control do we have over the room mix?
Sadly, no individual congregational control over the room. We've really worked hard to get, good prices for everybody, and then also to fit. Michael's done tremendous work in fitting synods into hotels, so your cost per room will be dictated by where your synod is staying.
How do we apply for catered food at the park? So pretty soon, later this fall, we'll have a link that you can sign up for those catered meals, and they will be at NRG Center, not at the stadium this time, but at the center right across the parking lot. And so we hope to have that information up for you later this fall. Do you assign actual rooms with numbers of people per room, or do you just assign the hotel?
No, we assign the rooms to each congregation. I've got all of the inventory in the city of Houston of all the hotels that we've booked. And I pull from that when I assign congregations to their hotel. And that's where, if you've selected all doubles, that's, I'm sorry, my friend, that's where you will find the heartbreaking news that you have some king rooms in your mix as well.
You apply for a scholarship, you need to wait to push the register button done until you find out if you've received it.
No.
Is there an advantage to registering right away versus registering in a week or two?
No.
Except for you would be eligible for more of our awesome registration incentives.
For our first incentive, that's right. Molly, why don't you tell us what that is?
It is a fast pass for anything in community life.
Yay!
Do we need to have our flight booked before we sign up for the airport shuttle service in October?
Probably it would be helpful.
You attend Mile or the Table. How will housing and meals be handled? Are we responsible to reserve, or will the gathering take care of it?
The gathering takes care of it.
Is gathering transportation included, or is that an extra cost?
It's included.
Oh my gosh, I think we're done.
Oh.
All right. Any final questions for the lovely Donna? I'm looking through the list one more time. I think we've got it.
Well, that's terrific. If you think of something else, send us an email, go to your synod coordinator.
Just kidding. We have more questions. Are all meals at the gathering our responsibility?
Yes, all the meals are your responsibility with the exception of the lunch you get on your service day.
If someone can't go, we can't substitute another kid?
Oh, absolutely.
Until May 15th. Thank you, helpful, thank you, you're awesome. Oh, you all are awesome, we love you. All right.
Yay. All right, we'll be watching the registrations come in tomorrow at noon Central.
Bye. Bye.